pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole.
You know, I have a sneaking suspicion that man might be responsible if it ever does happen. G'day guys, this is Holy Critics signing in, and I just want you to have a look at this image right here. This is a screenshot that I took from the website Down Detector, which logs all of the reported outages among various different companies. In this case, you've got telecom providers, AT&T, Cricket Wireless, Verizon, T-Mobile. And there's something strange that happened at the exact same time. See these line charts here? They're all flat, every one of them, up until the early hours of February the 22nd, when they shot straight up. All of these are self-reported cases. Maybe one of your providers is among this list right here. So there's been a lot of speculation as to why this happened. Some people have claimed that it was a software glitch. There was a major update and it caused all of this disruption, which I kind of find hard to believe considering each one of these companies would have its own interface. So you could probably point to one or two companies like AT&T, which seem to have the biggest problem. But why are all of these providers going down at the exact same time? Others have claimed that solar flares were to blame because apparently on the evening of the 21st and the early hours of the 22nd of February, there was a strong solar flare that was emitted from the sun. However, that's been largely downplayed by the mainstream media. Even this government agency here has claimed, while solar flares can affect communication systems, radar, and global positioning systems, based on the intensity of the eruption and associated phenomena, it is highly unlikely that these flares contributed to the widely reported cellular network outages. So that's another plausible theory. And then it gets even more conspiratorial. Elon Musk posted to Twitter X randomly, "This is a test," and he turned the comments off. Why the cryptic message? I don't know. But Republican Senator Marco Rubio hinted that it could actually be a cyber attack perpetrated by the Chinese Communist Party. He says that he doesn't know what caused the AT&T outage, but he does know that it will be 100 times worse when China launches a cyber attack on America on the eve of a Taiwan invasion. And it won't just be cell service they hit, it'll be your power, your water, and your bank. Now that's a frightening thought to imagine, wouldn't you say? So, what are we to make of all this? It's entirely plausible that we have just seen a major attack on America's defenses by the CCP or maybe even Russia in response to recent escalations going on in that neck of the woods. But I find that in times of uncertainty, it's always good to return to a familiar face. And yes, I'm talking about Alex Jones. Get a load of his analysis on what's just happened.
The FBI director on January 31st testified to Congress and said Chinese communist mass hack attacks on infrastructure, power, telecommunications is imminent, that they're already having massive probing attacks. And then he put out a statement 2 days ago saying it was even more imminent. We're going to play a short clip of that. Now, obviously, Klaus Schwab has hyped up that cyber attacks are going to be so horrible, they're going to make COVID look like a minor inconvenience, close quote.
Just to validate what Alex Jones said about Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum, here's visual proof of that claim that he just made.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison.
Now that's a pretty ominous message considering he said that on July 8th, 2020, at the height of the lockdowns and the pandemic.
So could a globalist group have done this knocking out AT&T? Yes. Are the Chinese communists broken now with the globalists the last 9 years, up to ready to go to war with them? Yes. So has China launched this attack? Is it a cyber attack? Well, AT&T is being very tight-lipped and won't say why this happened.
You'd think they could just clear it up by saying the error happened on our end. But instead they've remained radio silent on the matter, which indicates something perhaps more nefarious at play.
Some are saying it could have been a solar flare. There was a big solar flare last night. But there's not other reports of other telecommunication systems going down. When a solar flare comes in, it hits the hundreds of telecommunication companies, including SpaceX's systems and everybody else.
Well, I think we can refute that because based on the image I showed you earlier, AT&T wasn't the only affected company. So Alex Jones is wrong there.
And then reading, I noticed that a few days ago, they updated a, quote, cyber security function for all the phones and AT&T services, like cable systems they own, and that itself is a surveillance system. And if you've got holes in that, it's a perfect place for foreign governments to get through. Or you could say there's a glitch in it and it caused it.
Don't you love that? Every time there's a system update, it makes your device perform even worse than it did before.
But I tend to think they wouldn't roll out a major software and then crash things. They would just pull the software off and it would be booted back up. So I'm giving you a few of the thought processes that go into what I said earlier, that I believe this is a Chinese communist government-run attack, and that's why the corporate press is not reporting it, because it's so embarrassing. Now, that's a researched opinion, and I would give that an 80% probability. I would then give it a 15% probability the globalists did it themselves as a false flag, and a 5% that the new security software they put in caused it itself. That's my analysis. But let's go through the different scenarios here. Carrington, because this could mean the power plants, this could mean the electricity, this could mean the power grid, this could mean the banking system, which is what the globalists would tend to do, which is what I've been predicting, to bring in a global financial crash that they could go, oh, we've got a new financial system, your money will be back in a week, just sign on to this new global central bank digital currency. That's how they want to force you off the old system into the total surveillance grid.
He does make sense there, because you'd think the globalists would want to bring in their CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. So you would assume the banking system would be most impacted if they were involved in this recent event. The fact it's only telecoms does point somewhat to a cyber attack, but it also doesn't discount the possibility that the solar flare may have caused the outage. However, the strongest piece of evidence I think we have so far that this was indeed a cyber attack is a Securities and Exchange Commission filing by the United Health Group Incorporated. And according to this article, they are responsible for most of the pharmacies across the United States, including Change Healthcare and CVS. The problems began on Wednesday after a suspected nation-state associated with cybersecurity threat actor gained access to Change Healthcare's information technology systems, United Health said in a filing. Once we became aware of the outside threat in the interest of protecting our partners and patients, we took immediate action to disconnect our systems to further prevent impact. In its filing, United Health said it cannot estimate the duration or extent of the disruption at this time. It said that it retained security experts and was working with law enforcement. So who do you think this so-called cybersecurity threat actor really is? Well, I think I've got a suspicion. I'll just share one piece of evidence I've come across. Somebody on Reddit Conspiracy posted the image you see on your screen. It's a text message in Chinese. Why am I bringing it up? Well, apparently during the AT&T outage, it was sent from his girlfriend's phone, except she isn't Chinese. And it's very curious what it says when it's translated to English. So apparently somebody needed to use ChatGPT to translate this message because it was really jumbled up. But this is the speculation. Consider fortifying the bridge and deploying additional forces to push back the enemy. The enemy's numbers are overwhelming, but we must consider our strategy carefully. Reinforcements are needed to hold the field. The enemy's morale is high, but we must glare back with determination. Yearn for victory and prepare for overflow. Clear the path for timely return. This is our chance to reclaim victory. Even I'm getting roused by this speech. To push back. Channel the river to discard the enemy's attempts at overflow. So it sounds very much like enemy intelligence has been intercepted or intentionally put out there as a form of misinformation. Again, perhaps to cause mass hysteria that the Chinese are about to attack the United States. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments section. All I can really say to you guys is make sure you remain vigilant at all times and be prepared for a worst case scenario. What would you do if the power grid went down? What would you do if you couldn't access your bank accounts, for example? Do you have emergency supplies? Do you have cash on hand? Have you bought gold and other precious metals? Are you prepared to defend your home against potential looters? People that raid the supermarkets or go on bank runs because of fear and panic like we saw during the lockdowns. You really need to keep your head screwed on in these dangerous times because you really don't want to get caught up in the mass formations or panic that spreads throughout the population in the event of a major cyber attack. I'll leave you with that thought. Thanks for watching, and this is Holy Critic signing out.